My name is Todd Walcott, and I'm one of the 206 certified reverse mortgage professionals in the country. I'm located in Palm Springs, California, and I do content explaining reverse mortgages for consumers and financial planners. My license ends at the California border, but the concepts here work in any state you're located in. This one is specifically for my financial planners. I appreciate that you send me your clients when they are clearly outspending their assets, but I'm going to show you how making a reverse mortgage part of the retirement plan can not only mitigate the sequence of return risk, but I'm going to show you how to optimize it to allow your clients to pass on more assets to heirs and keep more money under your management for longer than how you may be managing the risk today. But as a consumer, you can follow along like a pro if you understand a few of the industry terms. The first term is probability of success in retirement. And that in English just means, what is the probability that you will outlive your money? I'm sure there's a computer model that could get it exact, but I roll with, oh yeah, these people are solid, or, well, there's a pretty good chance if they keep it modest. And then finally, we should probably get this on before I'm their last resort. The second term is buffer assets. These are assets that aren't subject to market value swings, and are those assets you should draw down on in down market years, or in years where the unexpected comes up, or years when you want some additional discretionary spending, like a vacation or in-home care. These assets include cash, CDs, cash value of life insurance, and then should include the equity of your home. The third term, and the key focus here, is the sequence of withdrawal risk. And this is the inherent risk associated with relying on invested assets for the bulk of your retirement needs. A lot of the financial planners I talk to manage this risk from within your account by moving you out of 100% equities or a 90-10 stock bond split when you're young, maybe all the way down to a 60-40 portfolio mix when you're entering retirement. The theory behind this is that if the stock market is down, your bond portfolio should mitigate some of these losses, lessening the impact on the future growth of your portfolio and limit the impact on your probability of success in retirement. So first, let's look at a visual representation of what sequence of return risk looks like. And here what I'm going to show is that in addition to how much you pull out of the account is going to affect your probability of success in retirement, it's going to show what happens when you even touch your portfolio in the down years. I'm going to split the screen here and we're going to take a look. This is a print asset from Securian Financial. I don't know the rights, so shout out to Securian for the print asset. Both scenarios here show the same. It's a borrower with $500,000 portfolio at retirement, pulling out about $25,000 per year, and then increasing that annual draw by about 3% annually for inflation. It's a 5% draw rate, which could be considered aggressive. The next parameter here is two sets of annualized returns randomized over a 30-year period. The left scenario shows what happens with down years early on, and the second scenario shows the effect when negative returns occur later throughout the years of retirement. You'll note that in both scenarios, the average annual rate of return is the same 6% overall. I think this is an important thing to point out, as we are all at an all-time high in the indexes, which to me sounds like the probability of a down year or two in the near term for someone retiring now is high. I believe we should plan on some down years early on in years of retirement, and this is when a reverse is going to exponentially help your clients. So let's look at the scenario on the left, where the down years happen out of the gate. In this scenario, you'll see a year-by-year hypothetical return or loss, the withdrawal, and then the ending balance. In this first scenario, the money's gone in 13 years, and the borrower is then forced to call me for a reverse to stay in the home or come up with a plan B, which typically involves me as well. The right-hand side shows what happens when the negative years are down the road. And here you can see the same year-by-year scenario. And in this scenario, because the negative returns occurred near the end, the borrower experienced success in retirement. They outlived their assets. This is a great representation for clients to explain sequence of withdrawal risk. The conclusion from the examples for me would be negative returns early on in retirement will significantly reduce the client's probability of success in retirement. So let's build on this. In the next slide, we're going to see the same two similar scenarios. This time, both scenarios will have the same annual data used from 1973 to 2002 based on a 60-40 portfolio split. This print asset is owned by Finance of America Reverse, so thank you, FAR. I would love to and plan to do the same kind of a print asset showing the last 25 years as an example, But we had a tech bubble early on in 2000s, so I think the numbers would be similar and would bring us to the same conclusion. So here, I'm going to show both scenarios in full screen for impact. The left side is using the HECM as a last resort strategy, where like in our last two scenarios, the borrower pulls out money until it's gone, which in this case didn't happen until like year 24, so not too bad. At that point, the borrower would come to me, taking out the reverse mortgage, and when they turned 91, they would have owed about $523,000 on that loan. Now let's focus on the right side, where we're using a strategy where we access the reverse in down years and rely on the growth of assets to draw on the portfolio in up years. Here we can follow along and see that out of the gate in 1974 and 1975, we had some down years. So instead of drawing down the assets, we pulled from the reverse mortgage. As time goes on, we have only 2 other years where we would have needed to use this as a withdrawal strategy. However, here, when the borrower turns 91, they owe about $563,000 on the reverse mortgage, but they have a portfolio remaining in excess of $1 million. Where the HECM is the last resort, the heirs sell the house, paying off the $523,000 reverse, and that's what they split. On the HECM and down year strategy, they sell the house, pay off the $563,000 reverse, and split a $1 million portfolio. This is the power of the reverse that nobody understands. I would go one step further to say that here we've shown how to significantly mitigate or eliminate the sequence of withdrawal risk. At this point, there's no reason to internally manage this risk with a more conservative portfolio. Instead of keeping this client's portfolio at 60-40, I say go out at 80-20, 90-10, and show clients what their portfolio may have ended up at above this $1 million in this scenario. Now we're not managing the risk to this client, we're managing the risk for their heirs. The HECM can be the buffer asset if the unexpected comes up, so there's no need to worry about selling assets in a down year. Just pay down the HECM in an up year if you want to go apples to apples here on an emergency scenario. This is an advanced strategy only because it requires coordination between the financial planner and reverse mortgage guy. Otherwise, I can't see the obvious downside here. 2 closing thoughts. Southern California has an average 5% increase in home values over the last few decades. Since MACs were only lending 40% to 50% out of the gate, so long as the house increases in value by half of the note rate, equity remains constant. $500,000 reverse mortgage at 6%, that's going to be $30,000 of interest. Next year, you owe $530,000. $1 million house appreciates at 3%. The house is worth $1.03 million. You've got the same $500,000 equity. We don't strip value. Yeah, there's going to be down years. If you have to sell in a down year, all right, not great. Second fun fact, when the last remaining borrower passes and the home is sold, a 1098 is issued to the estate for all of that deferred mortgage interest, which could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. The estate files a 1041 estate tax return, and the heirs receive the K-1 that includes a huge mortgage interest deduction. And here's where you need to pull your CPA partner in. This is what we call the forgotten or the lost deduction, and requires a knowledgeable CPA to navigate this deduction best for the heirs. Pulling your CPA to this, I am not qualified to give any tax or legal advice. I can point you to the rules I know and where to go for the information. I hope this helps, and I encourage you to give it some thought to using the strategy with your clients who might get it. Otherwise, I'll continue to love your referrals when your clients are on the path of not so great probability in retirement, and I will treat them fairly. Thank you.